Hey everyone, just wanted to reiterate that Bitcoin is not a buy low, sell high asset. Somehow it got stuck in the mindset of practically everyone that with investing you're supposed to buy low and sell high. Well, that indicates that you can time the market, that you would know what low is and that you would know what high is, and that you should wait to buy until something's low and you should wait to sell until something's high. Well, that's impossible to know. It's impossible to know unless you're a full-time stock analyst and you're looking at all the fundamentals and all that sort of stuff. For the average person, it's not possible to know. And certainly in the case of Bitcoin, I mean, other than just a vague sense that, wow, it's on sale because everybody's scared or, everybody's, panicking or whatever, yeah, I suppose it can feel a little suppressed or it can feel at all-time highs, but frankly, everybody who tried to buy low and sell high ended up totally cheating themselves out of massive gains for Bitcoin. So the vast majority of valuable assets that are worth holding are worth buying at whatever price it happens to be available when you are ready to invest, and they are worth holding as long as possible. As Warren Buffett and, other very well-known investors are constantly saying, don't ever buy an asset that you're not willing to hold for 10 years or forever. Like, why would you buy an asset that you don't think is going to be valuable in the future, but you do think is going to be valuable now? If you're doing that, you're trying to time the market. You're trying to sort of get in and get out before, ahead of somebody else. That's not going to work. You're almost always going to lose on that sort of thing. So, what you should do with Bitcoin is buy as much of it as you can, as early in the cycle as you can, which means now is better than tomorrow. Yesterday was better than today, et cetera, et cetera. Get in the market and hold it as long as possible. The other problem with a buy low, sell high mentality is it presumes that you're going to sell Bitcoin for something. But the question is, what are you going to sell Bitcoin for? Bitcoin is the most valuable thing in the world. It's the scarcest thing in the entire world. So are you going to sell it for US dollars? Well, why on earth would you sell the scarcest thing in the world for something that the US government is just going to print out of thin air? That makes no sense. And plus, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to sit on the sidelines and watch Bitcoin keep going up? It just doesn't make any sense. So if you hear people say buy low, sell high, typically you do not hear that from sophisticated investors. That is something people say who typically do not understand how investing works. The thing that you hear people say that do understand how investing works is buy and hold. So you should not buy low and sell high because it's not even possible to know what low and high is. What does make sense is to buy and hold. And so that applies to every great asset, everything worth owning is buy and hold. And the same applies to Bitcoin. Buy and hold. Buy as much of it as you can and hold it for as long as conceivably possible. And if you find yourself wanting to sell your Bitcoin, ask yourself the question, for what? If it's with the intent of selling it now and buying back at a lower price, that is a fool's errand. The probability that you're going to pull that off is extremely low. Almost everybody loses who tries to sell and then buy back in later. I mean, it is billions of dollars have been lost by people attempting to sell their Bitcoin and then buy it back later for cheaper. Do not do that. It is a fool's errand to do that. Again, it assumes you can time the market, and the market cannot be timed. Also, again, there's never a bad time to buy, and sure, the cheaper of an asset's price is, the better. But what almost always happens is when somebody's planning to buy low, the lower the price gets, the more they get scared. Because they're like, wait, if the price is going down, I'm not sure I even want this asset anymore. So let's assume they bought some Bitcoin and then they promised themselves, I'm going to buy a lot more if the price goes down another 10%. Well, then it goes down 10%, but the reason it goes down 10% is because it's lost momentum and everybody's nervous. Well, suddenly they're nervous, which inevitably means they don't buy the additional Bitcoin they were planning to buy. And then it goes up and the price doubles and they don't even have the Bitcoin they were planning to buy because they never bought it because they were too nervous to buy it when they were going to buy it. So trying to buy low doesn't work because it's impossible to know what low is. And by definition, when it is low, you lose conviction about the buying of it because you're nervous, because the market's nervous, because the price is down. So it doesn't work to do that because it's counter to your intuition of what you instinctively want to do, which is be scared when everybody else is scared and not buy stuff when it's going down. and because it's impossible to time the market, meaning you're much more likely to not buy and get left behind. And again, selling high doesn't work because what are you going to sell it for? You either have to sell it for US dollars, which makes no sense, and plan to buy back in later when Bitcoin's lower, which is a fool's errand, or you have to sell it to buy some other asset that is even more high performing than Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin has outperformed every other asset over the last 10 years. So what asset on earth are you going to buy after you sell your Bitcoin that is going to perform better than Bitcoin? It just doesn't work. So don't do that. It's not that hard. Buy and hold. Do not buy low and sell high, because that is not what sophisticated, savvy investors that know what they are doing do. What sophisticated, savvy investors do is they buy and hold. That's what you ought to do no matter what you're buying, but especially applies to Bitcoin. Buy and hold. Thanks.